Coming right up, a special edition of Straight Talk, Long Beach Water with Kevin Wadier, General Manager of the Long Beach Water Department, and Matt Lyons, Director of Planning and Conservation, all here in 1 minute.
Opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Charter Communications nor its sponsors. We recognize our obligation to present opposing points of view by responsible spokespersons. For information, please contact the Director of Program.
She stands in the face of evil and will not lose hope or faith. America, the land of freedom, is still the home of the brave. So raise the banner, call no glory. Let us join our fellow man. History will write the story. America will always stand.
Straight Talk is brought to you in part by Southern California Edison. For over 100 years, life powered by Edison. The Press Telegram, your local news leader for over 100 years. And Long Beach Magazine. Coastal Living, City Style.
Join us for tonight's edition of Straight Talk. And now your host, Art Levine.
Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk. We're delighted you're joining us. Our focus tonight is on Long Beach Water. Our first guest is the General Manager of the Long Beach Water Department, Kevin Wadier. Kevin, welcome back to Straight Talk.
Nice to be back, Art.
Kevin has been the General Manager for 9 years of Long Beach Water, and he previously served 13 years with the MWD, the Metropolitan Water District. He's an engineer by background, and let me just state for the record, because I'm familiar with water, that Long Beach has one of the best water departments in the state and is recognized as such. So
Thanks,
I'm very proud of what you do. But we're faced with a serious situation. Give our viewers a sense of the water supply situation at the state and local level.
Well, it's interesting. We've been through 3 pretty tough years. The last 3 years here in Northern California in particular have been pretty dry. This year is actually a better year, so we're doing a little better this year, but we're coming off 3 dry years up north, and now we're starting to worry a little bit more about the Colorado River. We get our water here in Long Beach, about 60% of it's from our local aquifer, and then about 40% of it we buy from the MWD, and they get their water from the Northern California and the state. And it's kind of funny how we kind of go from things are okay on the Colorado, but they're a problem up north, to vice versa, and so it kind of shifts back and forth. And now we're in better shape up north than we have been in the last few years, but now we're starting to get concerned about what's happening on the Colorado River again.
And Long Beach Water was cutting edge in imposing, or getting the city to impose, restrictions on usages, trying to stay ahead of the curve.
That's right. We were the first first water district here in Southern California that got real aggressive in 2007, mainly because of what was happening with Northern California with some endangered species rulings that put some restrictions on how much water we can get from up north. And because of that, we saw that we needed to really reduce our demand here in Southern California.
It's amazing. Most companies in business advertise and try and increase demand for their products. You deliberately, and you got a statute ordinance to back you up, wanted to reduce demand for your product.
Well, it's, water's a public resource, and that's why most water is managed by public agencies, because, we need to manage it in an environmentally responsible manner. So when we don't have enough, we have to save it.
But then, and you were successful in that effort, but ironically, with the reduction of demand, since you need a certain amount of revenue to operate, rates had to go up.
Our rates and everybody else's rates have gone up pretty significantly over the last couple of years, but we're through that now, and I think those big rate increases are behind us.
just to give our viewers a sense of the impact of the drought, brought a photo of Lake Mead, which is the reservoir off of the Colorado River.
That's the main reservoir on the Colorado River in what's called the lower basin. There's also Lake Powell, which is up in Arizona and Utah. But this is the main one, so it's just immediately east of Las Vegas. People have probably been there over to the dam, Hoover Dam.
Let's go back to that photo for a second, and specifically looking at the arrow showing where the high water mark was, and you can see where the water is now, 100-foot drop. So
yeah, Lake Mead was built in 1935, and so it started coming down about 10 years ago. So it's actually come down 110 feet now in the last 10 years. So it's actually right now the lowest it's been for this time of year since 1965. And the forecast for later this year is it could be the lowest it's ever been since it was built. So it's coming down year after year after year. What we've seen is 10 of the last 11 years, the amount of runoff coming into the Colorado River has been lower than normal. So the lake's coming down year after year after year. So about 10, 11 feet a year for the last 10 years, 11 years in a row now.
just to reiterate what Kevin mentioned, we get our water from the underground aquifers that we're blessed with having in this area, and also from the Colorado River through aqueducts that the Metropolitan Water District has built, and also through the State Water Project. Those are our three sources, and the drought conditions have caused less water, at least in the past, in the aquifers, but also in the Colorado River. Other states like Nevada and Phoenix that have had a lot of building are reclaiming their legally entitled quotas, and we used to get the benefit of their unused water, and now they're reclaiming it.
That's exactly what's happened. They used to use a lot less. Now they're using their full allocation, both Nevada and Arizona. And so when you combine the fact that they're not using their full legal rights with this now 10 or 11 year lower than a normal precipitation, we're starting to see another what could be a serious situation develop over there.
So we have a systemic water shortage problem.
Well, it's kind of funny. Like I said, it goes back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And when we look at the whole picture, what it tells us is that what we've been doing here in Long Beach with conservation is the right thing to do, and we need to continue to do it.
And global warming also impacts your industry.
Well, it looks like it. If you look at the Colorado, if you look at this year, for example, the Colorado River, and this is what we've been seeing for the last several years, even though the snowpack and the rain is, for example, about 80 to 90% of normal, the runoff's only about 65% of normal. So I think that's probably global warming, that you're having less runoff than you normally had in the past for the same amount of precipitation.
But the key is to be proactive, as your agency has done, and get ahead of the curve.
Well, again, the conservation, I think, has put us, back into a pretty balanced situation. We were out of balance there for a while, and now I think we've gotten back into good balance.
Okay, we'll be continuing our conversation and joined in the next segment by Matt Lyons.